I have had this car since I was 16 years old, so it's been 14 years that I've owned the car, and it's been through a lot of evolution. We originally put a small block Chevy 260 cubic inch engine into the car, and I made some of my very first passes with the car. It went a 14 in the quarter mile, and then after that I wanted a little bit more horsepower, so we put an LS engine, a 6-liter LS, and we actually ran it here at the Grassroots Motorsports Challenge, and that was the first time that I took it down the strip with the LS engine. And that was the first time I went an 11-second in the quarter mile, and that was like one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. And then I decided to get wacky and wild, and I put a Vortec 4200 Inline 6 into the car. And I ran that here as well at the Grassroots Motorsports Challenge. Lately, I've wanted to go back to a V8 just because the car is more suited for a V8 application. You know, the inline 6s are a little longer, and it just doesn't fit as well in the engine bay. It's a little harder to work on. And so I put a Generation 5 5.3 liter LT engine into the car, and I put this is my very first time running a manually shifted transmission in the car. It has a TKX 5-speed. And I blew my Chevy 10-bolt the very first pass I made with that, so it now has a Ford 8.8 in the rear. And I also put a LT4 Corvette Supercharger. It has a Corvette camshaft, and I built a set of 180-degree headers that I was attempting to make the car sound like the new C8 Z06 with the flat plane cranks. So it is the factory leaf springs in the rear. They work pretty well, but we did install a torque arm rear suspension into the car. We used to run slapper bars, but they were very aggressive on the launch. They just wanted to throw the rear end out of the car. We converted to the torque arm, which moved the instant center a little bit further forward in the car, gave it a little less leverage, and allowed the car to not totally, plant the tires in the back. And then the front suspension has basically, we took the frame rails on the car, we chopped them off at a certain point and put a Mustang 2 front suspension under the car, just because of the original Studebaker stuff is very antique. It's like 30s technology for a 60s model car, and it's just awful. So we converted it to a Ford Mustang 2, rack and pinion, and it's been pretty significantly modified to house the headers that I built for this. I had to basically re-engineer everything just because I wanted the sound, and that was like my number one priority with the most recent rendition. So I haven't run this car at drag and drive, but I was fully getting ready for that eventuality. Being the TKX 5-speed, it has overdrive. The car actually does really well on the street. It gets like 22 miles to the gallon. So for an old, not very aerodynamic hot rod like this, that's pretty impressive. So I was getting ready for that, but I have not actually run it on a drag and drive quite yet. Most of its life, it's been a sub $2,000 build. I mean, we never ran it here with the small block. Obviously, we've gone pretty significantly over with this most recent rendition, but this car has been constantly being experimented with. It's I call it my Project Y. I'm a huge fan of 57 Chevys, and that means I'm a huge fan of the Project X 57 Chevy. And one of the things I love about that car is they're always swapping new and different engine platforms, transmission platforms, suspension platforms into that car. So I call this my Project Y, since I'm a member of the Generation Y. So this is my Project Y, and you never know, you might see some other wacky and wild engine swap or suspension modification in the near future, and that's all stuff that we detail on our YouTube channel. So it's we try to have fun.
Want to see more content like this? Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. And for more information, visit us online at grassrootsmotorsports.com.